Now, General Electric has evolved their business over the years to fit the economies of different African countries it's expanded to. The power company has done this while ensuring they meet the power needs of the countries they serve. So, of course, a lot of exposure there in Nigeria, exposure there in Ghana, Angola, as well as Kenya. So joining us to chat about General Electric's future expansion plans in Africa, Jay Ireland, who is the CEO of General Electric Africa, joining us from Nairobi this time. Jay, thank you so much for joining us on CNBC. So let's just get a perspective right now in terms of how Africa fits into General Electric's overall earnings, because we saw the results, Q1 results coming through from General Electric last week. And of course, it still continues to be Europe, which dents and pulls down growth there. You've got revenue which came in for Q1, say, at around $35 billion. Tell us about how Africa fits into that kind of overall pie right now and what type of growth rates you're seeing coming through from the continent.
Sure. Hi, Samantha. Nice to be with you, and thanks for having me on. Our growth here has been absolutely great. We've probably doubled our order volume in the last 2 years, and our revenues have been going around growing about strong double digits upwards towards 20%. So we feel pretty good. We're a relatively small percentage of the total revenues that GE has in total, but we're continuing to grow at a much faster clip. So we feel pretty good about the growth that we see here in Africa and the opportunities for the company, and more importantly, to help solve the infrastructure needs that many countries have. Let's
talk about, firstly, the power sector right now. What type of kind of volumes are you seeing when it comes to the order book there, specific focuses for you when it comes to certain countries? Because I mentioned, of course, Nigeria, Angola, but is there a specific strategy right now to growing your power sector in Africa?
Absolutely. I mean, the power needs are everywhere in Africa, as you well know, and I think we as a company have a number of solutions that can help solve those problems. And we go from a diesel genset at 1 megawatt all the way up to big thermal plants, combined cycle steam and gas. We do aeroderivative engines. We have gas engines. So we have a number of different alternatives and products that fit every need for any African country. Obviously, fuel is a key piece for any power generation or electricity generation, and we have a plenty of equipment that can handle all different types of fuels, whether it be natural gas, diesel, heavy fuel, steam, etc. So we feel pretty good, and I think when you look around the continent, the aspect of power is really depending on how the countries handle it. Some do it with IPPs, letting the private sector build. Others do it through government and dealing with the ministries or a government utility. So it's all different types of alternatives that we have as far as getting to market.
I mean, just looking at the power aspect, it's also the funding of that. Is there enough finance around to fund the power needs, basically, or is GE stepping in from a financial perspective, financier perspective as well?
Well, it's interesting you asked that question. When I got here 2 years ago, there was always this discussion I'd hear from the bankers and the money people. There's plenty of money for Africa, and then I'd hear, but there's no good projects. And then I hear from all the project people, we got plenty of projects, but there's no money. So we had this bankability gap, if you will. And I think the answer is yes, there is a lot of money, but it's there for the right projects. And I think that's the key, is making sure that you deliver and really develop the right projects that make sense for the project aspect. And that goes all the way from consumer through fuel, as far as making sure that there's a viable economic value chain there. So I think the money is there. From our perspective, we are developing projects ourselves with equity that we've put into some of these projects. We also finance through debt as another alternative for us. So we have a number of different options that we can do. But again, if we're looking for good partners to develop these projects, and then we will we will resource them appropriately.
Let's talk about Kenya, because you're of course in Nairobi today because you've got to deal with Safaricom, and this really goes back to the power sector and the need for alternative energy sources where there is that power deficit right now. Tell us about how this fits into your broader scheme of supplying these type of battery backup power to key industrial companies like Safaricom.
Yep. Actually, it's pretty exciting today. We developed this new technology in batteries, sodium halide batteries, that basically are very environmentally friendly. They're recyclable, 95% recyclable, and they're able to really provide immediate power for many different applications. They replace lead acid batteries or diesel generators. So our agreement with Safaricom today, which is the big telecom provider here in Kenya, is to provide them a number of batteries that they were using on their urban towers because of weight restrictions, et cetera, that they have uninterrupted power source, as well as the cell towers that are outside of the city that use diesel generators as a backup power source. So either way, it cuts down either the use of diesel as fuel, and/or it cuts down outage time for Safaricom based on power outages and things like that. So it's a real great alternative. And Safaricom's the first company globally, telecom company globally, that we're rolling it out. So it's a tremendous, the batteries are made in upstate New York in the United States, and this is the first key network customer that we've had. So it's pretty exciting for GE and GE in Africa.